My name is Andres Felipe Garcia Botero. Today we are going to present the research project according to the specifications required from the guide for the task 5. My classmate?
Okay. And the presentation.
Okay, one moment. Let me just share the screen here. Okay, Windows and this. Okay, can you see it now?
Yeah.
Okay, let me just continue here with this. Okay, the project is analyze how songs can be used to teach basic English vocabulary in 11th grade. And so let's continue with this.
Okay. Data sheet. Then and type of paper is research project and research license the SEDU in SOC. Both is in sound and SOC. The authors is Daniela Manzano, Arenas, Andres Felipe Botero, and Angie. In this moment, is no came possible. And advisor is Danny Cuellar, and key words as are music, learning, communication skills, language, and pedagogy.
Okay, thank you so much, Danny. Okay, so the statement of the problem and research question. The research question is, how does the use of songs influence the acquisition and retention of vocabulary in 11th grade students from the Dorada Institution? This institution was proposed for our classmate Daniela, and there we analyze and follow up all the requirements to investigate how students can improve their learning vocabulary through music. The problem is the learning of vocabulary by students in the 11th grade from the Dorada educational institutions present a series of difficulties that prevent a good development of language skills, especially listening. In the vast majority of institutions, the traditional methods of vocabulary are not corresponding to the needs that the students are required in these days to fully capture the attention. So the main focus or objective with this topic is to students to be better when learning English and trying to have more vocabulary through music. Music is an important tool to use it and a strategy for development of the communicative skills in English. So we decide to do this because it's important and it's something that the students could be interested. Let's continue.
Okay. The objectives is general objectives is analyze and how tools can be used to teach basic vocabulary in 11th grade. And the specific objectives is first is identify and the perception of grade 11 students regarding the teaching and learning process of English. And their study have a strong music in this language. The second is explore the role of the music as a teaching resource to promote the development of communicative skills in English. And third is compare and perception of learning communication skills in English between students who work with music and those who do not. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so now let's move on to the literature review. During this study, it's grounded in the key educational theories that support the use of music as a language learning. As I said before, there are different theories for this research that are focused on how we can provide that motivation and engage with the students from 11th grade from the Dorada institution. It's important to use the music. So one of the theories that we have here is one from Surjati from 2024 that it says the effectiveness of using English music as a learning tool to improve listening skills for students. This research uses quantitative research methodology with two groups, an experimental group that uses English Song as a learning tool. So this is important because learning new vocabulary in English to communicate, to do something with the language, is important to relate that music. It will be something that motivates students to study. They could be more motivated, they could share, they could have fun at the same time. So this methodology and this strategy could be used during the process of learning English. The second one is Kahuma 2022. Listening to songs can improve vocabulary and knowledge, particularly in the area of word recognition, which can be related to 4 weeks later. So this can be because you engage with the music. The students can learn through the time, and every time they repeat, they can have new vocabulary because they're listening day by day. The other author we have is Yorkie from 2020. The listening is a skill with a lot of benefits from becoming a better listener. The increase of vocabulary and the relation when improving successfully communication with others. So music is important because it develops the communication with the students. They could work together collaboratively and they can mix different strategies to learn the language or the vocabulary they need to express themselves. Let's continue with the next slide. One moment, please.
Okay,
Okay.
the methodology. The first is type of study and is qualitative. And the first is phenomenological and descriptive. Okay, this research uses a qualitative approach to understand how 11th grade students experience their English vocabulary through sounds using a described phenomenological design. The study analyzing students' experience through observations and field notes and interviews. The main goal is to capture how students feel and react when using music and strategy to improve vocabulary learning. This method helps identify patterns, perceptions, and insight about how sounds support their compression and vocabulary acquisition. And the second is the scope of the research. And this research focus on how music uses a didactic strategy influences vocabulary acquisition in 11th grade. Students from La Dorada Caldas, the study works with one group of 25 students, which out of the qualitative exploration of their experience. It centers on observations, how music affects participation, comprehension, and communicative skills during English lesson. The main goal is to describe the students' phenomenological experience and analyze that the impact that some had on learning and acquiring new vocabulary. And data analysis strategies, the analysis of information allows a qualitative phenomenological approach aimed at understanding the life experience of students through the use of some in the English learning process. The analysis focuses on perceptions, emotions, and behaviors expressed during the interventions, without relying on numerical or statistical comparisons. And baby, and can
Okay,
you
I will share
the yeah the
the
table?
table. Okay.
Mm-hmm,
Let me just
please.
hear where I have it. One moment. Okay, I have it here. Go.
Okay, the table is divided of category, subcategory, and indicator, and instruments of techniques. The first is teaching strategies and use of the sounds when learning vocabulary in English. The indicator or the objectives is integrate English sounds into the lesson, use a sound lyrics for vocabulary, students engage with music activities, and the technique is diagnostic or observation. And the second is vocabulary acquisition, and the vocabulary or compression.
Sorry.
The objective, sorry?
It's okay. No. I'm just looking for the table here. Continue. Okay, here. Okay, here. Okay, go. Sorry.
I can
The second one.
see
No,
the
no.
table.
You were reading the vocabulary acquisition. Continue.
Okay. And recognize new words, understanding vocabulary through lyrics and improvement in pronunciation. In this case, is field diary. The motivation and participation is students' engagement and aptitude. The objective is interaction with teacher and classmates, interest and enjoyment with learning. In this case, is observations. And learning perception is students' and perceptions. The objective is opinion about using sounds as a learning tool. Progress in vocabulary and communication. And is an observation. And no more.
Okay, let's continue with the next slide. The next slide is about the results. Okay, the results we have from this are focused on how music impact on student progress when learning new vocabulary in English from the Dorada institution. So the results study reveal that the significant impact of using song as a didactic strategy on the development of English communication skills. So it improves them. Analysis of the student's perception indicates that music serves as an effective and motivating tool for enhancing listening, speaking, and pronunciation abilities. It's important to recognize that music, when you listen, you can develop a lot of skills when you want to communicate because you learn new vocabulary, you can express yourself, you can have all these tools all the time, like I said before, learning day by day with the music. So the students are very connected with the idea to have music in their lives, and that can improve the listening skills and also the speaking when they want to translate or when they want to say something. It's important because of that. Also, the study found out that students recognize music as a facilitator of the learning. Nothing that encourages regular practice, increases engagement, and promotes a positive attitude. So this is important because when you teach through music, when you do this type of activities with the students, you can engage them, you can provide new strategies. So students will be able to understand more, to learn a little bit more about the language, and they can interact with it. So the results are mainly focused on that and how we can do that. How can the students be involved with the music and how they can improve themselves with the learning process with the music. Okay, let's continue with the next slide. These one are for discussion.
Okay, discussion. And the result of this study. Okay, first I read the presentation. The use of sounds significantly improves vocabulary retention as the reading, repetition, and contents of the lyrics making is easier for a student to remember and better understand new words. The classroom dynamics become more participatory and collaborative. And music increase motivation and reduce anxiety, creating a more pleasant learning environment and encourage active student participation. Okay, and the result of these studies showed that using sound in English classes is an effective strategy for supporting students and learning. And music increase motivation and create a more enjoyable learning environment. And we support Suri Jadis in 2024. Idea that music reduces anxiety and boosts engagement. And the students also show better vocabulary retention, aligning with Kaihua in 2022. Who explains and the repetition and reading in some strategical lexical acquisition. The findings also reveal the classroom dynamics and become more active and collaborative. And music helps students interactive more with the language and lower effective filters. With Russian in 1982, and making participation easier and more meaningful. Overall, sounds proved to be a valuable tool for vocabulary development, especially for students with limited exposure to English outside school, making learning more relevant, enjoyment, and painful. And no more.
Okay, so let's continue with the next slide that are the conclusions. With the conclusions, we can say that using songs as a didactic strategy represents an effective pedagogical resource for development of communicative competence in English, combining motivation, engagement, and meaningful learning. It's important to develop the English comprehension in our students from 11th grade from the Dorada institution. However, its implementation requires carefully planning, appropriated material selection, and teacher training. The analysis shows that although weaknesses and traits exist, the strengths and opportunities outweigh the challenges established with music as a key element in the language teaching learning process. So, getting to the point with the conclusion is important on how we use the music, how we can connect with the students, and how we can provide that improvement when learning English through the music. Those activities of listening, working with lyrics, or even just having an interaction with the language is important because then students can really feel motivated, which is the most important thing here, and they can be improving their language skills within the process. So that's it for today. These are the references, and that will be everything for the presentation. Danny, you want to say something else?
No, this is all.
Okay, it's okay. So thank you, tutor, for this process, for teaching us for how to do our research, and thank you for everything. And I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Thank you so much. Give me 1 minute. I'm going to stop recording.
Thank
Give me
you.
1 minute, please. Give me 1 minute, Danny. Okay,
Okay.
stop recording. One moment, please. That I have to stop recording. Recording. Stop recording. Stop.